Do all of you know 10 women? Because if so, it's likely that you know a woman that suffers from endometriosis, even if you or they don't know it. Endometriosis is a condition where tissue similar to the lining of the uterus is found outside the uterus, and it impacts our mothers, partners, daughters, sisters, and friends in numerous negative ways. It causes chronic pelvic pain, painful sex, gastrointestinal upset, very painful periods, is a leading cause of infertility, and perhaps not surprisingly, poor mental health. But worst of all is that this is a condition for which we do not know the cause, and for which we currently have no cure. Endometriosis is estimated to affect around 730,000 Australian women and approximately 176 million women worldwide. It exacts a heavy toll, causing relationship breakdowns and negatively impacting both academic studies and work. The pharmaceutical drugs that are used to manage the pain of endometriosis include the non-steroidal anti-inflammatories and the opiates, the latter of which can not only cause dependence, but are responsible for the deaths of 3 Australians every day. If only we had some alternatives. Now imagine a plant that's been used by our ancestors as a medicine for over 5,000 years, but became the target of a propaganda campaign in the 1930s known as reefer madness. This is one of my favorite cannabis prohibition posters of the time. And despite being in this field for many years, I regret to inform you that my life has never, ever been as exciting as what is depicted on the slide. But this being said, it's this type of misinformation that's laid the foundation for where we are today, still trying to overcome the stigma. So first, I had to change that narrative, and I embarked on a journey of education. For the last 3 years, I've been involved in medicinal cannabis education events both here in Australia and abroad, having presented to groups like the New Zealand Medical Association, the New South Wales Nurses and Midwives Association, and the World Endometriosis Society. NICM was also part of a joint partnership that developed the first Category 1 medicinal cannabis training program accredited by the Royal Australian College of General Practitioners. But it isn't all about the medicos, because patients and carers need education too. And all up, I've delivered over 80 talks to a variety of audiences over the last 3 years. Next up, research. In a world first, our team surveyed Australian women to investigate the different self-management strategies that they use to manage their endometriosis. Our survey found, much to our surprise, that around 1 in 8 of them were using cannabis, most likely from illicit sources, and that it was the highest ranked self-management strategy for pain of all of those reported. Furthermore, cannabis use was associated with significant improvements in nausea and vomiting, gastrointestinal upset, anxiety, depression, and sleep. Our survey also found that over half the women using cannabis were able to reduce their pharmaceutical medications by over 50%, and that side effects were quite mild, with only around 10% reporting increased drowsiness, anxiety, and a faster heart rate, like mine right now. So, we already know that illicit cannabis is being used by women with endometriosis, and it appears to be safe and effective. Where to next? We're partnering with bioceuticals to conduct a randomized clinical trial to investigate the safety, efficacy, and tolerability of medicinal cannabis for the symptomatic management of endometriosis. If the statistics I just reported to you previously were obtained from illicit cannabis, imagine what a standardized and quality assured medicinal cannabis product might achieve. Lastly, our team's research has shown that endometriosis impacts our economy to the tune of $9 billion annually, around 30,000 Australian dollars per woman per year. The greatest contributor to this is lost productivity, and this is directly related to pain. Women with severe pain had 12 times the productivity loss compared to those with only mild pain. So, if medicinal cannabis is found to be an effective alternative treatment, not only could it possibly save lives and greatly improve women's quality of life, but it could potentially save billions of dollars each year in Australia alone. Not to investigate this potentially effective treatment would be madness indeed. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. Fantastic. And we'll cross now to our judges for some questions. Looking to the table.
Jessica, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the very interesting presentation, and I congratulate you for the research that you've done in Michelin with the future research. You talked about some of the disbenefits and the side effects. I'm just wondering how you would manage that. I mean, engagement has several dimensions. How you go about managing that in terms of engaging the community and your survey?
And the side effects of cannabis use. So it's a good question, and it's one thing that when we were originally developing surveys and even looking at trial development, that we've engaged with the endometriosis community and deciding, our survey was co-created with I think it was 19 women that have endometriosis, and what were the side effects that would be deal breakers. One of them at the moment, which we currently see in Australia, is that with the new regulations around medicinal cannabis being implemented, and you can go to a doctor and have it prescribed, our legal driving laws are actually that if you're still detected with cannabis from a swab test, that you would lose your license, even if you were a medical patient. So that's one of the crossovers that we're trying to work and being instrumental with government to try and change that. But yeah, it's something that we work with the patients. There are some that, there are cultural issues as well, that some may not want to use it. But in comparison to many regulated and scheduled pharmaceutical medications, our research has found that the side effect profile is actually quite mild. Thank you.
Okay. Just a quick one. In the randomised clinical trial, and you've got patients taking medical cannabis, what's the form, and are you looking at the components of the cannabis so this is consistent dosage, if you like, across the trial, and are you looking at what is it within cannabis that actually is most effective in alleviating particular symptoms of endometriosis?
That's a great question. So we've done that in a stepwise manner, in that we're doing an international survey that's going to look at jurisdictions that are already using cannabis, and we're going to survey women and what types of medicinal cannabis and the ratios of cannabinoids, of THC or CBD, that they might be using. Then we're going to incorporate that into our RCT. But most of the women generally that were in our survey were using illicit cannabis, so we don't know the qualities. Most of it was smoked, whereas most women have actually shown that they'd like to take it orally as a pill or either as an oil. That would then also be easier to placebo, hopefully.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks again.